Okay guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the key skill of completing the square. Now this is something that they can ask you on your GCSEs. In fact, it came up on the paper 1 this year for AQA GCSE Maths with this exact question. And today we're going to be looking at how to do it, what it actually means to complete the square. And in a later video we'll be going over the uses of it. But firstly, what is the steps to it? Now in this example we've got the coefficient of x squared equal to 1. Now it can be equal to 2, it can be equal to any value. However, for the completing the square method we have to have it equal to 1. So if it was 2x squared, you'd have to factorise out with 2 in order to complete the square. But what's step 1? Well, first step is to write x in a bracket like that. Now, this will be the first step in every complete the square, because it's always going to be coefficient of 1. Like we just said, you have to factorise out any other coefficients to get x squared. The next step is to copy this sign here. So if it's a plus, like it is here, you write plus. If it's a minus, then you'd write minus. And to complete this bracket, we have to look at the next x term, 12x. And what we do here is we halve. We halve the coefficient of x, and we completely ignore the x. So what we write is 6. And that is our bracket. But the good way to remember how to format a complete the square is it may tell you in the question. If not, remember it has to involve a square. And that is a terrible 2. That's better. So on the end of the bracket, that is x plus 6 brackets squared. Or in other words, x plus 6 times x plus 6. It is not equal to x squared plus 36. That is wrong. Okay, but we can't ignore the plus 50. So we just slot that in there. However, the problem that we have here is this is the x plus 6 squared is going to give us a result of 36 on the end. It's not just going to give us x squared plus 12x, it's also going to give us a 36. So to counteract that, we simply minus 36 from both sides, from the outside the brackets. So we have x plus 6 squared minus 36 plus 15. Now that minus 36, if it was 4 inside the bracket, it'd be minus 16. If it was 3, it'd be minus 9. It's simply the negative of that non-x variable squared, which will become more apparent as you do more complete the squares. But at the moment, that is equal to x plus 6 squared plus 14. And that is complete the square. In the question, it may not say complete the square. It may not say solve x squared plus 12x plus 50 in complete the square form. It will more likely say put x squared plus 12x plus 50 in the format x plus a squared plus b. That is your kind of key, that is your trigger to going in and completing the square. If it doesn't say that, I wouldn't recommend completing the square, because it can be a bit of a pain to solve because of how it gets squareds involved, and when it's not an exact value, it can become more tricky, and it would just be easier to use either the quadratic formula, or if it solves nicely, just the usual factorizing, which we have done a video on. But let's do another example. Okay, here we have our second example. X squared minus 4x plus 2. Now, like I said, the method does not change when it's a negative. As long as it's a coefficient of 1, we are okay. And unless you're doing GCSE further maths or higher, you'll never have to deal with coefficients higher than 1. Or at least it'd be a very, very harsh question to come up on a regular maths GCSE paper. So what do we do here? Well, we start off exactly the same. Brackets x. Now remember what I said last time, we copy the sign. So minus, because it's minus 4x, we copy the sign over. So it's minus. Then, once again, we halve the coefficient of x, which in this case is minus 4. However, we've already dealt with the minus. So it's minus 2. Remember, completing the square, we square the bracket. And instead of just writing plus 2 this time, we're going to skip that step, and we're going to immediately write the square of the non-x variable. The non-x variable here is minus 2. And minus 2 squared is 4. So outside the bracket, we simply write minus 4 plus 2, and that is equal to x minus 2 squared minus 2. But thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.